is Magna here, and I have my first online battle. So what I have is, I came as Rome, because Rome's the only faction that I've really ever played. I've studied it a bit, and this is the setup of, I've got a bunch of Stadi and veteran legionaries, eagle cohorts, some archers, and some cavalry elephants. I'm up against Macedon, who have a lot of pikemen there, and some cavalry. So
over there is an
I've kind of got a sort of a double line. I've got my Stadi out the front, I've got my archers down the middle, and my veterans at the back. I've got my equites and elephants on this side. Here I've got the general. The general's got the Caesar abilities, levies, and equites. So coming over to my opponent is Sarissa cavalry, a couple of units of Sarissa cavalry, some Aspis companion cavalry. Companion cavalry is a general, some Thessalian cavalry, I guess is how you say it, and then a bunch of pikemen. You can see that are lined up there. Some more Aspis companion cavalry on that side. So my opponent was essentially waiting for me. I decided just to move forward and start the engagement. But what happens is there's some skirmishing on this side. I might add that I'm not really familiar with Macedon and companion cavalry, so if you just have a look at it a bit, so this is a very heavy shock cavalry. It says you can see it's got a lot of health, a lot of base morale, a lot of armor, and so on. So it's a fairly expensive unit, I guess. Up here you got the Sarissa cavalry, not very much armor is what I noticed in the replay, and a lot of health. A very good charge bonus, I think, is what the Sarissa cavalry is all about, and you'll see how that comes into play. So some Aspis companion cavalry, very heavy melee cavalry, so still some good charge, some good melee attack, obviously, a lot of health, a lot of base morale. So I didn't have that much cavalry, but what I've done is I've moved my equites out. You've got a chevron on that one. I think I've got a chevron equites on the other side. I got some levies that I sort of brought up, and I was going to use the essentially the equities and the levies together, to do something on that side. Decided to bring my elephants across because I didn't want them sort of bogged down in all of this pikemen. I thought maybe they could do a better job over there, so I'm sort of walking them over. The equities just sitting on that side. So as I'm getting a bit closer, sort of repositioned some of his pikemen, and I just decided to, because I've got these long-range archers, so I thought they would start the battle. Noticeably, he doesn't have any missile fire. My opponent didn't have any missile fire. So I've got these 150 range, archers, auxiliary Syrian archers, that I just decided to sort of fire at the pikemen in the middle. Let's put all these pikes in pike phalanx.
Riders, forward!
See that the one unit of them has started firing. So, but then what happens is, and the way this fight sort of starts out really, is that there's some skirmishing around the side with the cavalry. Not much happening really with the front line, and as that skirmish started, so I brought some of these these archers over to try to get some side shots on this cavalry. I really left this cavalry's going to come in here, and I left these levies wide open. I had my equities way out there somewhere where they shouldn't have been. So I'm moving in my veteran legionaries to try to support them, but it's way too late. And have a look at this, 90. All the way to 79, 77, wavering, and they're gone. So that charge from the Sarissa was really good. Same sort of charge over here on my levies, but my veteran legionaries did manage to, hit these Sarissa, which don't have very much armor, and they're getting missile fire now as well from the archers. So that cavalry unit is down. The other cavalry unit managed to pull out, but now it's really engaged my equites with his companion cavalry, and his other companion cavalry there. So equites is doing kind of bad. He's got his Thessalian cavalry in there. I managed to get my African elephants over at this time, and I think fact that the African elephants, obviously causing him to back off a bit, and he's pulling out his companion cavalry as well with those elephants in there. But I managed to sort of trap this companion cavalry in. It didn't seem to pull out as well, and I think I'm doing a little bit of damage. It's not really going down. 54, still 50 more, 53. So while this is happening, actually, over here, this group of archers are still just firing at this pikeman. I think we both sort of forgotten about it. Pikeman down at 63 out of 120, so I've sort of halved the enemy there. Probably used way too much ammo for that though. I mean, is it really worth it? Taking out a group of pikemen with all of the ammo. So what happened is that he sort of, the opponent, brought back his troops. He's bringing back his cavalry. He's taking a few shots inside while he's doing that, and it kind of allows me, in some sense, or it allowed me to do this kind of outflanking position, right? So now what happens is because that skirmish was sort of done, and I think we both kind of concentrated on the middle. So he's bringing his cavalry in. My archers somehow had moved forward. They shouldn't have, I think, because they were set to fire at those guys. So I did bring them back, but I think a little bit too late. But nevertheless, his Sarissa cavalry ended up charging into my Hastati. They did get some kills on the archers, but not much. But then the Hastati can sort of engage these guys. Over on this side, my two units of equities were being engaged by the Aspis companion cavalry, and they're not doing very well. I didn't really notice that. You can see over there. What I was doing is I was using, I was setting my guys up for outflanking procedures. So I've got my Hastati coming around now. Still got the veteran legionaries over here, and my general that I can bring in that way if I want as well. So my Hastati are kind of, running down here to attack these pikemen. We've got these pikemen up here that I hit with the Hastati. I did manage to bring I rescued these equities, and I brought over some veteran legionaries to essentially help them out. The pikemen here are moving quite slowly. They're getting a fair amount of missile fire in at an angle, I think, so not too good for them. My opponent's gone and dropped a raised banner. This group of Hastati is sort of engaging on these pikemen there. So over here there's a lot of skirmishing going on. He's got his general there. And it's against my veteran legionaries, which are really wrecking these cavalry units that he had in there. The Aspis companion cavalry. I did lose my own equities against his Aspis. And I brought my general in, and I popped the Caesar abilities there. So trying to shore up my own guys, bringing in my Eagle cohort into this area. So he's still got a lot of this Aspis companion cavalry there. This one, I think, is coming up against the legionary. I actually lost my general. It's kind of bad. I brought the elephants down. Now this Aspis is holding up quite well. My legionaries had finished something off here. I forgot what that is now, but that allowed me then to get these outflanking procedures. These Hastati were holding up against these pikemen, and the pikemen are getting shot in the back. As I said before, I used I had some Hastati that I attacked. That's over here. I attacked the Hastati, these pikemen up here on the hill. A bit more of an engagement here between the equities that I had left and his general. I got Hastati now in on his general. He's essentially trying to kill my levies, and he does manage to successfully kill them there, so they're kind of gone, they're routed. The back, he's moving his Aspis companion cavalry around. The cavalry's kind of around the fight, and in the middle of the fight is this pikeman up against Hastati and veteran legionaries. He's trying to get a charge in on some of my guys. I've got another unit of veteran legionaries there. I've still got a lot of Syrian archers that I can use to good effect on these guys. Yeah, these Syrian archers, however, I probably should pull them out of there. I don't know why they're engaged. My elephant started running amok on top of his Aspis companion cavalry. That was kind of nice, you know, to see that happening. 46. I'm not sure that they're doing a lot of damage necessarily against them, but they are indeed holding them there in some sense. So I think what happened here is that really the pikemen just couldn't stand up to the veteran legionaries in the Hastati. I managed to surround him a bit, and while he's getting some charges here on my Hastati, it's good, and he's managed to drop raise banner again with his general. He's still got his general over here in the fight. It's kind of too late, and really, all of the pikemen, his units were just fleeing at this point. It was overwhelmed. He's still got his Aspis companion cavalry up there, but and they didn't really die very much against the elephants. They're kind of getting tied up, I guess, with the elephants. So that's what happened there. The elephants didn't really do a lot, I guess. Could have used them better. The archers were good, and obviously the infantry were being the main part of the force. They got a lot of kills, so you can sort of see how it panned out. I did have more men than him, and I think it's because I guess some of this cavalry might have been a bit expensive. I'm not sure of the expense of the units over here, which means I can bring more onto the field. And I guess that's about what there is to say. It was an interesting first player versus player battle for me.